Hey guys, also speak communications. A bit brighter than normal because I look like a vampire. Because I got the blinds open, saving power, don't have the lights on. Anyway, hopefully this will be a quick video. I don't know. Might ramble on for a little bit. Since this is going to be YouTube, I don't think anybody in Hollywood is watching this. You know, inspired by a series of videos Matt did a long time ago. I don't know if they're still up on this channel. Maybe it was on his other channel. After I did a couple too. This is probably first in probably many series. As soon as I come up with ideas, I decided why not share it with you guys. So anyway, this is the first episode, random movie ideas, and I got a couple for you. One I came up with basically because I had a dream last night, which is crazy. First, to sell the dream. The dream was like as if there's some thing on YouTube. We're supposed to upload a certain amount of videos in a certain amount of time, and some asshole keeps stealing my videos and uploading them. So then it turned into some crime thriller where he's trying to steal my identity and my voice. Then I get the help of the cops, get his ass in house arrest because we don't have enough evidence against him. Then I have a confrontation with him. I bring out a gun. He tries to, he takes out a knife. I got a gun from the cop because he knocked the cop out. But I ended up grabbing the gun from his holster. I had it behind my back, kind of like John McClane in the first Die Hard. Guy comes in. He's all like, "I'm gonna kill you. Your life is mine." And then I'm like, "Record this, asshole." Shoot him in the face. Headshot, done. So the idea that I came up for a movie, given that sort of idea, is called Replaced. And the idea for the cast, I thought Liam Neeson would be a good choice. Or maybe Harrison Ford. We're doing a little older. But I like Liam Neeson as my #1 choice. Maybe Gerard Butler. Possibly Bruce Willis because he did a good episode of Twilight Zone, an 80s Twilight Zone, with Saturday, sort of the same sort of thing. So the idea here is that there's this rich, executive, a corporate guy, going up the corporate ladder. And basically what happens is this guy, he used to be rich and powerful too, but he ends up losing everything, almost everything. He has enough money left to do one drastic thing though. So he decides, I'm going to take over the life of some guy who's in his prime and is rich and powerful. First, I'm going to take his face. So what he does, this is the face-off. This is where he pays a lot of money to do plastic surgery to look exactly like this person, Liam Neeson. And that's the person I'm thinking. Liam Neeson, Bruce Willis, or Gerard Butler, either one of those. Pays a lot of money for it. So then he goes on a crime spree. First off, he goes in and he wiretaps the executive's phone, records his voice, uses voice sensitizer to record the speech patterns, uses them to literally just call up his boss, his CEO at his company, and just tear him a new one, and just call him, all sorts of names, you incompetent bastard, you son of a bitch, you shouldn't be working here, you should be working at McDonald's, all that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, the guy gets fired. I'm thinking maybe for a name, maybe Andrew. I don't know, Drew. Why does the name Drew Stanton come to mind? Drew Stanton sounds good to me. So, Andrew Stanton. So, Andrew, he could, he gets fired. And that's when it starts going downhill. Because then, think of this idea, because then the guy who takes his identity, he has his face and everything, he decides to go in and start robbing a bunch of banks and go on a crime spree, killing people, shotgunning people in the face, robbing banks, and this guy, he doesn't care, because he's always so poor, like, doesn't he want the money? That's how he's getting the money. He's using somebody else's face to do all these crimes. Which is sort of clever, and you think about it, imagine if you were in this scenario. If you just got fired from your job and you're walking around, just imagine the sequence of the movie. You're walking around, got fired from your job, you're pissed off, and you see all these wanted posters everywhere that show your face. You're like, what the fuck? People are looking at you, this one person, there he is, trying to call the cops, and you're running away. I think it's a very, very suspenseful, could be a could be a well-made film. But I seriously doubt it'll be made, and if it does, then they'll probably rip me off. But anyway, I don't know how to copyright things, so maybe we should look into that. But The whole film basically is that he's trying to take over his life. He takes away certain things. It's not as much like Face Off where he takes his wife and stuff like that. He doesn't have a wife here. I'm going to say he doesn't have a wife. He's a single guy. So, you have the confrontation at the end where at this moment now, Andrew is just living homeless because he's got to stay away from the public. He's got to stay from all this. He's got a long, straggly beard. And eventually he decides to do something about it. And he goes and talks to a cop. She's not recognizable because of the beard, and he tells him who he is, and the cop at first about to arrest him, but he's like, please, 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 please listen to me for one moment, just one little bit. And he tells him, he doesn't say who his name is, he just says anonymous tip. He says, I need your help. The cop agrees, okay. So you have little intercut sequences, and it's gonna explain it throughout the film how this climax happens, how this ending happens. It's a twist. It's got a pretty good twist in my opinion. I'm gonna give it away because this movie's probably never been made. But the whole thing is that there's a makeup artist involved. You know, I guess sort of buddies with one when he was one of his friends in high school became a makeup artist. She calls him on the phone, says I'm in deep trouble. Dude, you're the serial killer. You're going around robbing banks. What's wrong with you? I should turn you in. I'm not doing it. Trust me. You know, I've known you since high school. Since we were kids, I did not do this. Do you see me as a type of person that would have a bone in my body to be able to do anything like that? And, you know, remember the times, talks about all the times, like, remember the times I go and bake a pie and take it over to the neighbor's house? I am not this type of person. So he decides he believes him for a sec. So he gets the help of the cop, and this is how you get this finale. The guy took over his identity. He decides, I'm going to get rid of him once and for all and be done with it. Because he's the only one that knows that because he's been screwing with him. He's been calling him on his phone. He's been following him everywhere. He's been doing all this kind of stuff. Figures out where he's staying at the condemned building where he's staying. Goes in, and he basically tries to kill him. But this is the thing. You have a fight between Liam Neeson, which might aggravate some people, but I think it's a good setup. Fight between Liam Neeson. It's actually good martial arts, and you know stuff like he beats shit out of him. The guy takes a gun and shoots Liam Neeson in the chest, shoulder area. So he gets knocked out. He's about to go out for the second kill, and then out of nowhere in the background comes another Liam Neeson, shotgun in hand. Guy turns around. He's like, record this asshole. Just shoots him with the shotgun, pumps him full of lead. Just like the ending of Cop with James Woods. So you have the whole thing. You find out the makeup artist was used to make the cop look like Liam Neeson with the help of a prosthetic mask, just so they could finally prove that it's not really him. So when you have 3 different Liam Neesons in one scene, it'd be absolutely a mindfuck. So, but the whole idea is that Liam Neeson has this little crop beard. The other one, Cop, has a long, straggly beard. The other one has a little short crop beard. Other guy's just has no beard. So just to sort of tell the difference between the 3. So he comes and shoots him with a shotgun. And you just have, that'll be the climb. That'll be the ending. He saved his life. He's gotten his identity back. The cop clears him from everything. It's a happy ending. So the other guy gets convicted. Then I might have some sequel bait ending. I don't know. I'm debating on this. Where there's a corporation that's doing this, that's behind all of this, where he's deciding to like just take over people's lives. So something like that. So that's the idea for Replaced or Takeover, whatever you want to call it. And while I was thinking about that idea, I came up with another one, which is sort of a variant on this, but I actually like this idea better. I'm going in between names for the movie, siblings, or I like the name Severed Ties. I think Severed Ties is better. And it's nothing to do with the weird movie Severed Ties from the 90s. Fangoria produced it. This one is an interesting idea here. It's a sick and twisted story, but it's a revenge story. And I'll get into it. So Severed Ties, in my opinion, would start out with these 2 boys. My opinion for the cast, for the grown-up parents, I'll tell you about my opinion for the cast. And for director, for maybe replaced or takeover, I'm thinking maybe, I don't know who exactly can really do this right. It's kind of, I don't know yet who I really would want to direct that. If John McTiernan actually still knew how to direct, maybe him. Justin Lin isn't the right guy for that type of movie. Maybe the guy who directed Firewall, I forgot what his name was. I didn't mind that. Maybe Rennie Harlan. He does good suspense thrillers at times. Sean Schlesinger, but he's not alive anymore. I don't know. I mean, the director of Desperate Measures, stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see that kind of thing. Maybe even John Woo, because he did Paycheck. Watching that again. It's not the greatest, but it has its moments. Tony Scott. I mean, I don't really know who really did the choose really for right now for that story, but it's got to be somebody who's good with suspense and good with setting up stuff. I know, gotta be good with that. So I don't know. I really don't know with that. This movie though, severed ties of jockeying between directors. Sam Raimi maybe. If I figure out why. Maybe if he still had talent, maybe want him. Adam Green. I forgot the director, a guy who directed Sliver, what his name is, but he's on the list. So yeah, stuff like that. So maybe even let's see who directed, the guy who directed Death Sentence for this one. But anyway, this basically Severed Ties would start out with a very brutal, gruesome opening sequence with these two boys, a younger and older brother. I'm thinking maybe Caleb and Jake. Caleb and Jake. Caleb and Jake. Huntington. Okay, Huntington will work. Caleb and Jake Huntington. Two younger brothers. They're playing in the park, playing catch, throwing the ball around. Football. And the older brother, I think, will be Caleb. He ends up, going after, younger brother. They're separated only by maybe a year. And so Jake's throwing the ball, Caleb's going after it. And they're around ages of, one's 11, I think one's 10. That's what I'm thinking. So, actually, Caleb's a younger brother. Sorry. Caleb's a younger brother, Jake's the older brother. And they're playing around the ball. I think I'm going to reverse the ages here again. Jake is 10, Caleb's 9. And throwing the ball, and there's a guy doing a weed whacker. He's not paying attention because he has his headphones in. Throws the ball, and Caleb tries to catch it. And he bumps into the weed whacker guy, and the weed whacker, in a very gruesome graphic sequence, but it has to be done this way to get maximum impact. It hits the kid in the face, so it just right down the fucking middle. So the kid's bleeding everywhere. This is a movie I don't think will ever be made because of its source material. So he's bleeding everywhere. He's like, oh god, and then Jake's like, no, and then Jake's thinking about it. It is an impulse move, which is stupid and horrible and mean and wrong. He's like, I can't tell Mom because she'll kill me. She'll disown me. I'm her favorite son. I can't do this. So I'm sorry. So he thinks he's a goner. He doesn't think he's going to survive this. So he takes him back. He rode the four-wheeler to the park. So he takes Caleb, he's bleeding, his face is cut in two, and he's taking him and puts him on the back of the four-wheeler. He's crying on the way, takes him to the lake, and he throws the kid, his brother, in the lake, leaving him for dead. You have the next sequence that goes along. He gets, you know, they see a body float in the river. Some people who live on the cabin by the lake, they go and pick the kid up and get him some medical attention. The kid grows up a freak. He's got like a giant scar down the middle of his face. Can't see out of one eye very well. He lost 2 fingers because, you know, when he was in the river for a while, fish decided to nibble on him. They got infected and lost him. So he only has 3 fingers on one hand, left, so he's right-handed. And he's got this scar down his face that makes it look like he's 2 different people, like a living actual Two-Face. And so when he grows up, he goes from home to home. Eventually he gets adopted by the circus, and he lives with the circus for years. And then you have sequence of the kid looking in the mirror, crying because he has this giant scar down the middle of his face when he's only like 10 years old. So he grows up with this, lives at the circus for a while Jake is going up the corporate ladder. He goes to college, graduates, has a great time. But he has tragedies that happen in his life. His high school sweetheart gets killed. The murder is unsolved. She gets strangled. And he all he does is he finds about it in the paper. He never even really knew how it happened. And he swore off any other relationships because of that. His mom and dad, at an early age, when he was a little bit, you know, younger, when he was in college, while he was away at college, his mom and dad die in a car accident. This is before his high school sweetheart gets murdered. And car accident, they're contributing to car problems. There's a malfunction with the drive shaft or the brakes. Brakes stop working. So you have all this, but he still managed to be successful. So the big twist about this is that you have this whole sort of ideas that you have from Replaced, where he ends up losing his job somehow, because his brother is still alive. He survived, as we all know, lived in the circus for a little bit, have a little bit sequence where the circus catches on fire, he barely escapes his life. And so now Caleb is on this quest for revenge, basically, against his own brother. So you find out when they get to the end, Jake has lost his job, he's living in fear, he's wondering what's going on, his funds are getting cut, someone keeps stealing his money out of his account, and the whole idea is Caleb he steals the money from the account, but he doesn't use it, he burns it. Doesn't care about the money. The only thing he cares about is revenge. So that's part of the revenge, is taking away all his money, taking it away from him, doing some identity theft a little bit, getting him in deep trouble, a lot of things. So basically, the ending would be pretty intense. This is how I'm thinking, really intense ending. And the ending would have Caleb confronting Jake at his house, final showdown, have a couple fights. Looks like Jake's getting the better of Caleb, but Caleb comes back, knocks him, really starts to hit him hard, takes out a knife that he hid, and stabs it into Jake's shoulder blade, and then kicks him down the stairs. There's a basement, it's like a outside type, storm cellar. They fall through the storm cellar and have a little bit of battle in there. Have maybe a conversation with axes. They pick up axes, try to fight with them, and then they get back outside again. They go through the house, axes going through everything. Before this confrontation, Caleb, of course, tells who he is. And then they get in the fight, and then they go back outside. And this is when Caleb starts to get the better of him. He axed him he hits him with the axe. And he's like, oh, he's not doing too well. Jake isn't doing too well. And then basically what he does is have a straight razor. And Caleb basically what he does, I think he basically incapacitates Jake by hitting him in the head with the side of the axe, which makes him dazed. And then he takes, see, all this can be reworked. I don't know for sure, but I'm just working on it as I go. Takes a knife, switchblade, or straight razor, and I want you to feel the pain that I felt. And of course, before this, have some sentimental moments like, well, we still had, good times together, Remember that time we used to play catch and everything like that? And he's all like, that boy is dead. The only thing that remains is hate, pain. So then before he tells the whole story about the circus and everything, what it's like growing up as a freak. I lived with the circus for years. With more freaks. That's all I got out of it. Then the circus burned down. All I got out of it was more pain. So, he's been talking about mutilation, being watched by hundreds of people, parents, family, kids alike. It's just a freak. I was only a boy. You ruined my life. Now it's time for me to take yours. So, I think it's a pretty intense idea. So we get more to climax. Starting to feel my pain. He just cuts Jake in the face, down the center of his face. And then he tells him about the story about when he was thrown in the river, he lost 2 of his fingers, so he cuts off his fingers. And then drags him to the middle of the field, middle of the backyard, takes out a bottle, takes out a gallon, takes out a gasoline, down tank of gasoline, pours it all over him. Of course he's bleeding. He's like, please, just show any compassion. If there's anything, you're a monster. I'm a monster. So, and then the whole thing where he'd be like, you're a murderer. But you're not dead, you're still alive. We can make something work. Of course, before he does it, tells him about all the things that he did. You see this scarf? I strangled your high school sweetheart with it in the back alley. We used to play cowboys and Indians. I used to be the cowboy. So, instead of the scarf would be like the bandana that you wear for the cowboy outfit. Parents, it was tough for me too. 12-year-old. I don't think he was 12. A young boy, young man just growing into his own. This is soon after the circus burned down. So I decided to send the parents on a little road trip. Cut the cables. Cut the brake line. What a mess that was. Beautiful mess. So, it's twisted and sick. So we have the whole thing where he's like, but you killed all the people that ever loved you. We would have accepted you if you came back. Really? Not if you look like this. And it shows his face and all scarred and burned. And it's like a combination of imagine if Darkman had a giant star in the center of his face. Something like that. Probably more sort of looking like Cropsy with a scar in the center of his face. So you have the whole thing, but then he tells the whole story, dunks the gasoline on him, and then he says, you know, lights a match. I'm like, please, you know, don't do this. Don't do it. No. No. Throws the match, lights his ass on fire. Jake's running around like, ah, on fire. And then, he basically, what he did is he looked at the weather and he timed it right. And so it starts raining. And so the fire gets put out pretty quickly. But it starts to downpour. So you're like, well, that's half-assed. Well, really, no, I have a plan where he was already looking at the weather and the paper and stuff earlier in the film. So rain puts him out. So he's just there, burned to a crisp, barely alive. Can't even speak. There's just death rattles. Just, you know. He's calling for help. And Caleb turns around, pulls out a pistol, so like, you know, points at his head. Don't say I didn't do anything good for you. Blows his fucking head off. Puts him out of his misery. Then you have the police come afterward, like he. End of the film would be he basically gets away with it. There's no this guy gets killed, thrown in jail. There's no need for it. It's a dark, happy ending. For me. Like, why do you have to go such extremes? Look what he did to this kid. His own brother. I mean, there deserves some vindication for that. I'm sorry. However brutal it may be. He fucked this kid's life. Leaving him for dead. Disfiguring him, forgetting he ever existed, telling his parents a lie that he just disappeared. So, you know, it's kind of worthy of such an intense comeuppance, in my opinion. So you have the whole thing where he escapes, takes the bus, gets dropped off at the condemned building, lives in. There's TV in there. Before this, you have the cops come. The cops come, find the body with the head blown off. Like, oh my god! And then you turn on the TV, talk about the news report, and then news report, and then you know has have the whole thing where I'm trying to remember. Cops news report where they're saying like the murder, one of the most brutal murders in the history of this, you know, this city. Jake Huntington was found dead. One of the most brutal murders in this city. Found mutilated, not only mutilated but burned, and his head was blown off by a caliber 38 caliber pistol. There are no leads. The gun was found on the scene with no fingerprints. It still stands as one of the most bizarre crimes in American history. And so he's sitting there watching the TV. And then, I think, I'm debating whether the last line you should say is revenge is sweet or life is a bitch. So I'm thinking revenge is a bitch. That's what I'm thinking, like, revenge is a bitch. Turns off the TV. So I don't want to do revenge is fish best served cold. Revenge is sweet, maybe. Revenge is sweet. But I don't know. I'm just thinking like rest in peace, maybe. I don't know yet. I'm thinking maybe, you know, revenge is a bitch. That's what I'm saying about. So it says revenge is a bitch. Turns the TV off. This is the end of the movie. Have some like Marilyn Manson type song on the soundtrack, like "Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker, put shame on the fight of my name. You wanna cut me and I'll catch you again." Something like that. Die, motherfucker. Maybe Rob Zombie type stuff. That's what I'm thinking of. That's the idea for, you know, the idea for two totally different movies with some similarities. Severed Ties, brutal movie, brutal idea. And remember the cast I was telling you about? Makes it more sweet. I'm thinking for Jake hunting Tim, the guy gets in the end, Timothy Olyphant. It'd be perfect for that type of character. It'd be crowd pleasing for me and my friends to see his ass get tortured and killed and burned and the head blown off. It's such great, sweet, gory bliss. And then the person who's gonna play Caleb, the makeup, I think Jeremy Renner would be a good choice. Jeremy Renner, or maybe even possibly Kevin Bacon. That's what I'm thinking of those two. And that's in director, like I said, Adam Green, or the guy who directed Slither, or you know, guys who do good horror, revenge stuff. You know, maybe Rob Zombie if he could bring the House of a Thousand Corpses type thing to it. But I don't really want Rob Zombie. I don't really know if you guys have any ideas for directors. Throw them out there. But you know, basically, this is just a random video I wanted to do. I hope you liked it. I didn't want to depress you guys because it's pretty downbeat movie. But really, not really. Now that I think it's you know, it's an intense film, Severed Ties, the idea I have. But it's not really downbeat when you think about it, because it's a sick and twisted crowd pleaser for me anyway. Maybe that's because of the way my brain works. I'm a sick and twisted individual, but I don't know. I just thought I'd share these ideas with you, and hopefully I'll share some more. So thanks for watching, and I guess I'll check you later.